2 days ahead of the parliamentary elections, candidates' campaigns continue in various governorates. The second Syrian Arab Tribes Forum starts in the city of Homs. And Lebanese judiciary files a suit against 21 people involved in smuggling weapons on Lutfallah 2 ship. Good afternoon and welcome to News in English, live from our news center here in Damascus. The Syrian people are looking forward to selecting People's Assembly members next Monday in an election process that reflects a political and economic pluralism.
Preparations have been completed for the parliamentary elections scheduled to be held on May 7th. The number of citizens who completed 18 years of age and have the right to participate in the elections reached 14,788,644 citizens distributed on more than 12,000 election centers throughout the Syrian provinces. They will elect 250 representatives out of 6,803 candidates. Election centers were also set up at the air, marine, and land outlets to enable citizens leaving or arriving in Syria to practice their right to elect. The candidates' campaigns continued 2 days ahead of the elections, through which every candidate presents his vision and election program. In Misyaf and Al-Sqailbiya in Hama, the National Unity candidates met people and were briefed on their demands. They also explained their election programs and priorities, referring to the forthcoming role of the People's Assembly in developing services. They also underlined the importance of participating in the election process and the role of the candidates in serving their people and their homeland.
Under the title "With Openness and Tolerance, We Achieve Conciliation," the Syrian Arab Tribes held their second forum in the city of Homs. The participants observed at the opening ceremony of the forum a minute of silence to commemorate all martyrs of Syria. They underlined the importance of strengthening national unity to achieve conciliation ahead of the People's Assembly elections. The participants also stressed that Syrian tribes will continue to protect their country and confront foreign intervention, pointing out that openness will pave the way to achieve conciliation among all segments of the Syrian society and overcome the current crisis. Russia stressed that the ceasefire in Syria is being implemented to a certain extent, pointing out that the level of violence has decreased in the country. Russian Foreign Ministry spokesman Alexander Lukashevich said in a press conference in Moscow that the situation in Syria has generally improved despite violations of the ceasefire on both sides. He stressed that Moscow disagrees with the excessive criticism on the situation in Syria, which undermines a peaceful political solution there. He added that the coming parliamentary elections in Syria indicates to the Syrian authorities' will to end violence and achieve peace. China has reaffirmed its firm stand towards the Syrian crisis, pointing out that it would continue playing a positive and constructive role to realize a just and peaceful settlement for the crisis. In a press conference, spokesman of the Chinese Foreign Ministry, Liu Yumin, said that China believed in protecting the UN Charter, the rules governing the international relations, peace and stability in the Middle East, and the best interests of the Syrian people. Yumin pointed out that his country remained in contact with the Syrian government and the opposition alike to push for a dialogue and to ease tension. "256 people who were involved in the recent events without committing any crimes have been released." The Lebanese Al-Akhbar newspaper said that groups of the armed Syrian opposition and their supporters were seeking to smuggle heavy weapons to Syria. Here's more.
The Lebanese newspaper quoted one of the armed opposition figures who was involved in the weapons smuggling as saying that the weapons seized on Lutfiya 2 ship were heading towards Hamas through a Lebanese mediator. The Daily added, quoting sources in the Syrian opposition as saying that before seizing the ship, the armed opposition managed to smuggle 3 shipments of weapons into Syria through Lebanon. Meanwhile, the commissioner at the Lebanese military court, Judge Sakr, had filed a suit against 21 people, including the crew of the Lutfiya 2 ship, which has been seized by the Lebanese army loaded with weapons. This list includes 13 Syrians, 8 of them are detainees, 4 Lebanese, 3 of them are detainees, 2 Egyptian detainees, an Indian detainee, and 4 other unidentified Syrians and unidentified Libyans, in addition to 2 fugitives, a Syrian and a Lebanese. Judge Sakr referred the prosecution to the first military investigation judge to complete the necessary investigations. The Lebanese Defense Minister Fayez Ghassan affirmed that the investigations were underway concerning the ship seized by the Lebanese authorities to know all of those who are involved and to punish them.
Border guards have foiled an infiltration attempt by an armed terrorist group on the Syrian-Turkish borders near Al-Allani village in Salqin city in Idlib governorate. A source at the governorate said that the clashes resulted in the killing and wounding of a number of the border guards and the terrorists. An armed terrorist group attacked law enforcement members in Mawqah village, killing 2 of them. The authorities clashed with the terrorists, killing 1 of them, wounding others, and seizing their weapons. Authorities also confiscated a water tank containing explosive devices on the Khan Sheikhoun Al-Hbayt road. Head of the UN Observers Mission to Syria, General Robert Mood, said that the success of the mission of UN envoy to Syria, Kofi Annan, requires that all parties cooperate to implement the 6 points, adding that the UN mission is tasked with monitoring the situation on the ground.
In a statement to journalists at Idlib Governorate building, General Mood said that many facilities were offered to the mission by the Syrian government, which would help the mission to document and monitor the reality of the situation. He added that his visit to Idlib comes in the framework of cooperation and coordination with all parties to restore security and stability, as the number of UN observers reached 50, to be completed soon to 300 distributed in the Syrian cities. Mood said that the mission is open to dialogue for enhancing the credibility of the UN work to rebuild the bridges of communication and attain the hoped-for goals, mainly bringing back security and stability to Syria. He indicated that the mission's report will be based on their field observations and convey the information to the humanitarian organizations.
We have had a very short visit in Idlib, because I'm in a couple of days visiting Hama, Idlib, Latakia, Homs, and several other places. So this is where I go to several places and make the first contacts. I've met several people, both from the government side, and I've met people from the other side. And I look forward to continue on that dialogue, because only through that dialogue will we be able to give the Syrian people the future that they deserve and that they need to have. Thank you.
Governor of Idlib, Yasser al-Shufi, said that the terrorist groups perpetrated many violations of the ceasefire and took advantage of the presence of observers to commit heinous crimes and terrify citizens. Earlier, Mood visited Latakia and spoke to journalists there, noting that his mission is based on 2-fold goals: monitoring the halt of violence and implementing the 6-point plan of UN envoy to Syria, Kofi Annan, adding that his mission needs everybody's support, participation, and abidance by the plan.
Well, we've reached the end of this news bulletin. For more news, you can log on to our website in English, syriaonline.sy.